Algebra 1, Lesson 40, we are looking at expressions and being able to use our properties of exponents to be able to simplify and evaluate. So we have a bunch of different properties that we've looked at before. So product of powers, that means if we're multiplying things with the same base, we can add the exponents. Power of a power, if we have a base to an exponent and then outside of that another exponent, we multiply. And power of a product property, so if we have two things inside of parentheses, all to an exponent, well, the first base needs to multiply the exponents, and the other base also needs to multiply the exponents. And we also have a product of quotient property, so if we have a fraction inside of parentheses and we have that to an exponent, we can say, all right, well, my numerator needs to be multiplied to that exponent, and so does my denominator. So let me just give a quick explanation or example of these last couple, and then we'll look at some examples. So let me get my pen going here. Well, while we're waiting for that to come up, I'll just move on to here we go. All right, so if we have an example like our last one, if we have a to the sixth, b to the third, and all of that squared, well, this square is going to have to distribute to both of these different bases. So I'm going to have to do a to the 12th, because remember, power to a power, I multiply, and b to the 6th. And in our other example, if we have, I don't know, a to the 5th over b to the 3rd, and we are taking that to the 3rd power, well, this distributes to everything inside. So I will have a to the 15th over b to the 9th. It doesn't just go to the numerator, it goes to the denominator as well. So let's look at an example. If we have 5a squared bc to the 4th, first of all, we need to remember that this b does have an exponent, so we will need to distribute it to the b as well. So we're going to say, well, that's b to the 1st power. And this to the 3rd needs to distribute to everything inside, including the 5, which means we're going to have 5 to the 3rd, a to the 6th, remember we're multiplying, b to the 3rd, and c to the 12th. And we can even multiply out that 5. So we can see here that we distribute and we get 125a to the 6th, b to the 3rd, c to the 12th. And for fractions, we're going to do something very similar. So if we have 2x to the 5th over m to the 3rd, n to the 7th, we're going to distribute this 3 to everything inside. So we get 2 to the 3rd, x to the 15th, m to the 9th, n to the 21st, and we'll multiply out that 2 to give us 8. Okay, so just remember we need to distribute that exponent. Okay, so in this case we distribute the 2 and get x to the 6th, because power of a power we multiply. And we get 10 to the 6th, which we can multiply out with all of those zeros. A square family room is being measured for carpeting. If the length of one side is 2x feet, what is the area of the room? So if I have this room, we say, okay, well, it's 2x by 2x. Then we would say, all right, 2x, well, I'm doing that squared, right? 2x times 2x, which means I'm going to do this 2 times and distribute it to the x as well. So I have 2 squared times x squared, which is 4x squared feet squared. All right. And then if we have the formula a equals pi r squared to find the area of a circle, with our radius being 2x squared y to the 3rd, I can plug that in to say my area equals pi times, well, this whole radius, 2x squared y to the 3rd squared, which means I'm going to distribute this to everything inside. So I get pi times 4x to the 4th y to the 6th, which we can leave as 4 pi x to the 4th y to the 6th, or multiply it out to say 12.56 x to the 4th y to the 6th. And that's going to be in whatever units squared. Okay, we're going to simplify these expressions. And we need to distribute the exponent outside. So I get 5 to the 3rd x to the 6th over 7 to the 3rd, which we can multiply out to be 125 x to the 6th over 343. And then on this top second one, we get 4 squared x squared y to the 4th, I distributed that squared, times 2 squared x to the 6th y squared. And I can combine our similar bases and multiply out. So we get 16 times 4, which is 64. We can add those exponents for our x's because they're being multiplied to get x to the 8th and y to the 6th. And I am going to square everything inside here, but I need to be careful about this negative x to the 5th. Because if I say negative x to the 5th times negative x to the 5th, negative times a negative is a positive x to the 10th over 36y squared. And lastly, if I do negative 5 squared, I'm going to get a positive 25 x to the negative 4th, because I'm multiplying the powers, times 3 to the 4th x to the 4th y to the 8th. And I can combine some like terms. So if I do 25 times 81, let's see, 25 times 81, that's going to be 2025. And if I do x to the negative 4th and x to the 4th, well, I'm adding exponents here, which means I'm going to get x to the 0, which is just 1, so that kind of goes away, times y to the 8th. All right. Well, hopefully this helps you and understand your exponents a little bit better, and I hope this helps with your homework and for studying.